Hi, guys. Today we're going to talk about some unusual things about DNA. First, let's quickly recap what DNA is, though you probably already know. DNA is a chemical substance found inside our cells, specifically inside the chromosomes, which are located in the nucleus. And what does it do? It can replicate itself, creating an exact copy, and it carries genetic information from one generation to the next. In short, it determines our characteristics. Now that the basics are out of the way, let's dive into the fun part. Can the food we eat change our DNA? Nope. What really happens is the DNA in our food gets broken down by stomach acid and enzymes, then absorbed like any other nutrient. So even though we eat things with DNA, it doesn't stick around or change anything in our body. It's like eating a book and expecting to learn something from it. The pages are gone before your brain even sees the words. Okay, so if food can't change DNA, then what can? Radiation and certain chemicals can. That's what we call mutations. UV rays, X rays, some viruses, and even man made tools like CRISPR can alter DNA. Now, what does changing DNA really mean? Think of DNA like a string of letters A, T, G, C, arranged in very specific sequences. Imagine these sequences as words or instructions. Like if ATGC means make hair, changing it to GTAC might mean don't make hair, or worse, make cancer. So yeah, mutations are like someone randomly editing the instruction manual of your body. And what happens when DNA changes? Most of the time, nothing good. It can cause cancer or other diseases. Making useful changes, like giving someone supervision or growing wings, is way more complex than movies make it seem. Evolution makes improvements, but it's slow, like glacially slow. Even artificial editing, like CRISPR, is super risky, often messy, and full of ethical questions. Now you will often find things like humans share about 99% of their DNA with chimpanzees. Where's the other 1%? Well, that 1% makes all the difference. Brain size, speech, social behavior, everything. But let's put that 1% in perspective. The human genome has roughly 3 billion base pairs, so 1% of that equals about 30 million differences. That's a lot. Now, what if we magically change that 1% of a chimp's DNA to match ours? Would it become human? Smarter? Start a podcast? Probably not. Intelligence isn't just about DNA, it's also about environment, experience, and development. DNA lays the foundation, but it's not the whole building. But if 99% of our genes are the same, shouldn't that overpower the 1% that's different? Like, shouldn't most things be similar between us and chimps with just a few differences? Not really. That 99% covers basic biological functions, like breathing, cell division using energy, things we share with almost all animals. We also share common ancestors, so our base blueprint is similar. Okay, what about humans with humans? How much of our DNA matches? Roughly 99.9%. The tiny 0.1% makes each of us unique. Now, what about twins? Their DNA is 100% identical, but they still have different personalities. That's where environment, experience, and epigenetics come in. Even clones won't act exactly the same. Okay, but here's a thought. If we take someone else's blood, does that mean we'll have their DNA inside us? No. Well, blood is mainly made up of red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma, and platelets. Red blood cells don't even have DNA. White blood cells do, but your immune system usually destroys foreign ones. So you're not absorbing someone else's personality or memories. Now, where exactly is DNA found? Just in the nucleus? Mostly yes, inside chromosomes in the nucleus. But a little bit of DNA also exists in mitochondria, the cell's powerhouse, and in plants, in plastids. So it's not only in the nucleus, but that's where the bulk of it lives. Now here's a funny one. Is our DNA the best or most advanced? Not really. Every organism is best suited to its own environment. Evolution doesn't aim for better, just for good enough to survive. So yeah, we're smart. But it's actually our own DNA that made us capable of thinking our DNA might be the most advanced. Okay, now, does DNA have color? Nope. It's colorless and invisible to the naked eye. What you see in science videos is usually dyed for visibility. Also, fun fact, we're constantly leaving DNA everywhere we go. Every minute, we shed about 30,000, 40,000 skin cells, many containing DNA. So just by scrolling your phone, you're leaving a trail. Now you might think, why don't these cells pile up into a junk heap? Good question. Bacteria and the environment naturally break them down. They get cleaned up, become dust, or just degrade over time. Last one. Have we ever found DNA outside of Earth? Nope. So far, Earth is the only confirmed DNA zone. No alien DNA samples yet. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed this. If you like Unsure Science talks like this, you know what to do. See you in the next one.